Okay, so imagine this. You've got 200 bucks sitting in your bank account. You could blow it on another night out, or you could use it to make money with literally zero risk. And I'm not talking about some get-rich-quick scheme or crypto nonsense. I'm talking about a mathematical guarantee. You put in the work for maybe 30 minutes and you walk away with profit. Every single time. Sound too good to be true? Yeah, that's what I thought too, until I actually did the math. My name is Oric, and I spend way too much time thinking about ways regular people are leaving money on the table. If you're someone who's tired of watching your savings account grow at 0.05% interest while inflation eats your lunch, or you've been burned by investment opportunities that promised the moon and delivered nothing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing. When most people hear sports betting, they immediately think gambling. They think degenerates. They think losing money. And look, 95% of sports bettors do lose money. That's just facts. The sports books aren't building billion-dollar stadiums because they're losing. But here's what most people don't realize. There's a completely legal loophole in the system that lets you extract guaranteed profit, and it has nothing to do with knowing anything about sports. I'm talking about arbitrage betting, and before your eyes glaze over at that finance term, stay with me, because this is probably the most accessible form of arbitrage that exists for regular people. Let me break this down. An arbitrage is when you exploit a price difference between two markets to guarantee profit. It's been happening in traditional finance forever. Big hedge funds do this with stocks, bonds, currencies, but they need millions of dollars in sophisticated algorithms. Sports betting arbitrage, you can do it with $100 in your laptop. Here's how it works. Different sportsbooks set different odds on the same game, not because one knows something the other doesn't, but because they're managing their own risk differently, trying to balance their books, responding to different betting patterns from their customers. This creates temporary inefficiencies. And those inefficiencies are pure profit sitting there waiting for someone to grab them. Let me show you the actual numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say there's a tennis match. Sportsbook A has player 1 at plus 150 odds. Sportsbook B has player 2 at plus 170 odds. Now you might be thinking, Oric, that doesn't sound like much of a difference. Look, in traditional betting, you'd pick one side and hope you're right. That's gambling. But watch this. If you bet $63 on player 1 at Sportsbook A and $37 on player 2 at Sportsbook B, you've now covered every possible outcome with exactly $100 total invested. If player 1 wins, your $63 bet at plus 150 returns $94.50 plus your original stake. If player 2 wins, your $37 bet at plus 170 returns $99.90 plus your stake. Either way, you get back more than the $100 you put in. You just made guaranteed profit of $5 to $6 regardless of who wins. Now you're probably saying, $6? That's it? And yeah, 6% return doesn't sound sexy, but let me put this in perspective. That's a 6% return in 2 hours. The average savings account gives you 6% in like 12 years at current rates. The S&P 500 averages 10% annually, and that comes with actual risk. This, zero risk, mathematical certainty. This is where most people mess up, and it's not about the math, it's about the psychology. We've been conditioned to think that risk and reward are always correlated. Higher return equals higher risk. It's beaten into us, but arbitrage breaks that rule completely, and our brains almost reject it because it seems wrong. Here's what I realized after doing this for a while. The reason more people aren't doing this isn't because it doesn't work, it's because it feels too boring. It feels like work. There's no rush, no thrill. You're not picking winners or outsmarting the market, you're just exploiting math. And psychologically, that doesn't satisfy the same itch that gambling does. But that's exactly why it works. The people who need excitement keep gambling and losing. The people who want guaranteed returns do this and keep winning. Small, consistent, boring wins that compound over time. Now you might be thinking, if this is so easy, why isn't everyone doing it? Valid question. Here's the reality. First, it takes work. You need accounts at multiple sportsbooks. You need to monitor odds constantly because these opportunities appear and disappear fast, sometimes in minutes. You need spreadsheets to calculate your exact bet amounts for different odds combinations. The math isn't complicated, but you need to be precise. Fourth, start small. Do a few practice runs with minimum bets to make sure you understand the mechanics before scaling up. And fifth, and this is crucial, keep detailed records. Track every bet, every outcome, your actual returns, because the IRS considers this taxable income, and more importantly, you need data to know if you're actually profitable after accounting for any fees or mistakes. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is going to make you rich. It won't, but it will make you profitable, and it will teach you to think differently about money. Most people are out here hoping and praying their investments work out, or worse, not investing at all because they're scared of risk. This shows you there's a third option: calculated, guaranteed returns that exist because you did the work to find them. That mindset shift alone is worth more than whatever small profits you'll make starting out. So stop waiting for the perfect opportunity or the perfect market conditions. This one's sitting right here, right now, available to anyone willing to actually do the math and put in the work. The question is, are you going to be one of the people who takes action or one of the people who watches and wishes they had? The math doesn't care. The opportunity doesn't care. It'll be here whether you take it or not.